Hi, in this video, we will discuss how to use interface type reference variable in Java. This is a part of a series covering a different non-primitive type variable. We have previously explored class type, array type, and enum type. Now let's focus on interface type. In Java, an interface is defined using the interface keyword. So type the interface keyword and I'm going to create an interface called screen. So inside the screen, I'm going to have a method which is void return type display. The method name is display, and this method is going to take a string input, string screen name. Main point to be noted. So in Java, by default, the methods inside the interface is public. So to use your interface, you will have to implement it. And to do that, you need a class that will implement this interface. So we have a class here, which is public class processor. This is going to implement my interface screen. So public class processor implements screen interface. So what do I mean by implementing is I will have to define this method inside my class that I'm trying to implement it. So here let's put void. As I told you, in interface, the method that you have written, even though you not specified any public or private or protected access modifier, it is by default, it means public method. So if you don't add public here, let's remove this annotation as well. So if you don't add public here, you're going to get an error that it is clashing with display string in the screen attempted to assign a weaker access privilege. Yeah, this is what I was mentioning. You will be getting this error that you're trying to assign it to a weaker access privilege because inside a class, it is default access modifier is private unless you mention it as public. So you will have to put it as public. And here, try to put a println, and in the println you can print the name. So you have a display method that has got implemented. The display method belongs to the screen interface. Now I'm going to call my main method, and inside my main method, what we generally do is, so you have this class, so mention the class, use a variable for that, equals to new constructor, that is processor. Now processor is equals to, processor dot, and you will call display method, and inside the display method you will mention smart screen. Now let's run this. So you see that smart screen is printed here, and if you look at this variable here, this is your class variable because it is referring to the processor which is of class type, and this class is implementing your screen. Now let's use interface screen equals to new processor and screen dot display pass something, maybe LCD screen. Let's try to run this. So you see that LCD screen is getting printed. So the whole point of this video is, if you see, this is the class type variable, meaning it is referring to the class processor, which is implementing the screen. But if you will look here, I have another variable, which is interface variable. The interface that I'm referring here is screen interface, and this is able to access my object that has got created for the processor class. Screen is an interface type reference variable, whereas processor is a class type variable. This is class type, and here screen is reference type. Now using this interface type, it will allow you for the flexibility and polymorphism, because you can use the interface type to refer any class that will implement this interface. For example, now we have this processor implementing the screen, right? And let's also have another class del screen implements screen. I'm going to put this method there. Maybe I'll try to add an slightly, I'll make some additional implementation details. Maybe I'm adding another word in it, which is del screen. So you have del screen. This is also a class. Now let's try to see what do I mean by polymorphism while using interface type. So again, now I have screen is another variable equals to new del screen. So I'm using the same I'm using my same uh, interface type. So this need not even be screen one. It just can be we can use the same variable and we can reassign it using del screen. And now let's call the display method and say LED screen. And let's try to run this. So it says del screen and LED screen. So this screen dot display here is actually calling your display method from the del screen class, whereas this screen dot display is calling from the processor class, because this interface type, this variable here is referring to new processor object, whereas the same variable is now referring to del screen process. So this is also called as runtime polymorphism, whereas it occurs when the method that is used is determined at runtime. Like this display knew that it should be calling the del screen class display method, and the screen dot display knows that it should call the processor's display method. This is also called as dynamic method dispatch. The method that is executed depends on the actual object type, not just the reference type. Similarly, when the processor is going to finally call the display, it dynamically determines which display method to invoke based on the screen's implementation. So that is it then, and thank you.